All right, well, let's go ahead and get this kicked off and started. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. My name is Brian Callie, the President and CEO of the Small Business Association of Michigan, and also on the board of directors of Michigan Celebrate Small Business. And this is an awesome organization, a 501c3, that is formed explicitly for the purpose of celebrating small business, to recognize exciting, growing small businesses all across our state in every industry and in every geography of our state, and recognizing and in fact celebrating the contributions that you make for to our state, the economics of our state, the difference that you make every day. So thank you for joining us tonight. And also congratulations on being nominated for one of the either the 50 companies to watch or some of the individual awards. We I think that we had over 500 applications come in. It's a very prestigious award, and this is the 20th year. So this will be an extra special time for us to celebrate these 50 companies over the last 20 years, and and it just keeps on getting better. So I have all the confidence in the world that this is going to be an awesome year for Michigan Celebrates. So our goals here for this time together is to talk a little bit about the process and the gala and the awards program, the kind of the why behind going through the work of completing and filling out the application, but also what you can expect in terms of process over the coming months. So I would like to now turn it over to fellow board member Dan Wyant, who leads the Edward Lowe Foundation.
Hey, Brian. Thank you. Thank you for your leadership, Brian. On behalf of small business, I'm excited to be with this group. I'm going to spend just a little bit of time talking a bit more about why Michigan Celebrate Small Business exists and speak to why we have this awards program. So I'll give you just a bit of background. Michigan Celebrate Small Business is a nonprofit, and it represents one of the most impactful collaborations of small business support organizations in the country. Its founding partners included the Small Business Association of Michigan, which Brian leads, the Edward Lowe Foundation, the Michigan Business Network, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and Michigan SBDC. In 2003, 20 years ago, the founders decided to bring together the group's individual award programs under one robust statewide program that collectively recognizes the best and the brightest small businesses in our state. And excited to say we've been doing this now for 20 years. Today, Michigan Celebrates Small Business is a 501c3, as Brian mentioned. We're driven by nearly 100 support organizations from around the state of Michigan. There is no other awards program in the nation that has these organizations coming together to support, celebrate, and elevate small business. And it's become, I believe, the premier awards and recognition program for small business in the country. And so know that this is unique because it's in its 20th year, and I think it will be extra special. So by raising the profile of small business, by building a network of entrepreneurial companies and telling their stories, Michigan Celebrate Small Business seeks to recognize, celebrate, and elevate some of the best companies in our state. And we go beyond that by providing support for continued learning and growth after you get recognized throughout the year. So that's a little bit about what Michigan Celebrate Small Business is and what it does. We're going to leave time for questions here at the end, so feel free to enter your questions into the chat, and we'll get to those in a bit. But I'd simply like to introduce the board very quickly, recognize those who are supporting small business in Michigan. You've met Brian Callie, the president and CEO of SBAM, including myself. We have many on the call today. JD Collins with the Small Business Development Center here in Michigan. Jennifer DeMudd, you'll hear from here in a second. She's with Connexus, and she's been quite integral in making this program happen over the years. Cameron Ganas is with Traction. Todd Gustafson with Connexus. Chris Holman, one of the founding members from the Michigan Business Network. Josh Hunt, a great leader at the MEDC. Cynthia Kay, one of our outstanding small businesses in Michigan with CK and Company. My colleague, Colleen Killen-Roberts at the Edward Lowe Foundation, Ann Parker with the Small Business Association of Michigan, and Amy Rencher, who's doing a tremendous job of supporting small business at the MEDC. So I want to thank the board for your leadership on behalf of small business in Michigan. And I'd like to now introduce Jen DeMudd, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Connexus. And Jen's going to share some information about the award categories. She'll spend a little time on the process. She'll talk about the timelines that'll be required. Again, as I mentioned, a quick FYI, we will provide opportunity for questions. So please feel free to place your comments in the chat box. And as our founder, Ed Lowe, would say, hail entrepreneur. Jen?
Thank you so much, Dan. And thank you so much for joining us today to hear more about Michigan Celebrates, the award categories, and really what to expect moving forward. If you're on the call, that means that you're a nominee. So congratulations. Simply being a nominee is a really big deal. Michigan Celebrates has been around, as Dan and Brian mentioned, for 20 years, and it is the premier awards program in Michigan to celebrate small businesses. So what I get to do today is to share with you the award categories, the process, and the timelines. And again, we'll have time for questions and answers at the close of our conversation. So our award categories, we have 3 main categories. You see 2 on the screen. We have our Best Small Business category, which is the Michigan Small Business Development Center has Best Small Businesses, the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers across Michigan have an award category, and then Smart Zones. And so that brings together all of our best small businesses. We have a category of special awards, which include the veteran-owned, minority-owned, and women-owned Small Business of the Year awards. And then Laura, if you could turn the page. Then we have our 50 Companies to Watch program. This is an award where we acknowledge, yes, some of the brightest and the best companies in Michigan, but specifically companies that have an intent and capacity to grow in Michigan. And then about 5-6 years ago, we started to offer the Michigan 50 Companies to Watch Distinguished Alumni Awards. And there are 2, strategically focused and great place to work. So if you think about it in three categories, the Best Small Business, the Special Awards, and then our Michigan 50 Companies to Watch Awards. So our process and timeline for the awards. The complete process, once you're nominated to the time when we select the companies, it's about a 4 to 5 month process, usually starting around September, October timeframe, all the way through when we award the companies in February. And so we're currently in the process of our call for nominations, which will end on November 22nd. That is an extended deadline that we just announced. So if you know of other companies that you would like to nominate for one of the award categories, please nominate that company. You have until November 22. So our application deadline is the next key deadline that our nominees need to be aware of, and that deadline is November 30. That is a solid deadline. We are not able to extend that deadline, in part because our judging will start. December 4 is when we'll start our preliminary judging. So please make sure that you get in to the application portal and complete those applications by November 30. At any point in this process, whether you're looking to nominate a small business or you have questions about a nomination or questions about an application, please reach out to myself. You'll see my email, different places, and then Laura is on the call as well. Please reach out to one of us. We're happy to answer any questions you have. So that complete process, we go through then the nomination, the application, the judging, the selection, and then the announcement process. I will say this a few times so we all remember that we do have, if awarded, a 50 company to watch award, a best small business, or a special award. We also have a media embargo, and that is, it lifts on March 22nd. So you need to make sure that you don't share any information of you being selected until March 22nd. And we're going to talk more about that a little bit later. Part of our judging process, after the judges identify the companies that are going to move forward in the selection process, we have a company that we've worked with for many years, Maynard Casterison. They are our due diligence process. Excuse me, they're our due diligence partner. And you can see on the screen in February, that due diligence process begins. Final round judging is the end of January, and then the due diligence process will begin in February. Maynard Casterison has been with Michigan Celebrates for many years, and they have been a great partner, not only to Michigan Celebrates small business, but they are also an advocate for small businesses. And I'm going to introduce Tim Bograk. I told you I was going to do this. Tim, thank you. Tim is going to share with us more about that due diligence process so that you have an understanding, if selected, to move forward in the selection process, you know what to expect. Tim, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it. And great to be here. Congratulations to everybody on the call. Quickly about Maynard, we're a full service public accounting technology consulting firm based in Lansing, Michigan we've been around for over 100 years now. So we've been Lansing based. We've been working with small businesses and businesses alike for that time. And that we've also expanded into our Grand Rapids office. So expanding our presence, expanding our resources and what we're able to do and the businesses that we're able to work with has been exciting for us over the past 100 years or whatnot. But to give you a little idea of this process, this process has been in place. The due diligence process has been in place the entire 20 years. So it maintains that consistency throughout this the process going on and how this selection has happened for the past 20 years of the awards. And it reinforces kind of that premier status for this designation as we go through it and pick out the award winners. What is involved is something that we get asked about a lot. So they'll be, looking to, financial stability, headquartered in the state of Michigan. If there are any red flags such as liens or tax debts, they'll do Google searches. They'll uncover rocks and make sure that the criteria are all met. And as we're kind of going through and doing our looking into this, as we go through the due diligence process, you may be contacted to answer some questions about the information that's submitted. Not good, it's not bad. It's just part of the deal. So if you get a call from somebody asking you about some questions around some of the information that you've submitted, don't be alarmed. It's just a part of how this thing is going to shake out and making sure that everything is on the up and up. Lastly, and this is probably one of the most important parts, we take this extremely seriously. We take the information and understand that it's highly confidential. There are a limited number of individuals who work on this for us as a firm, and everybody is required to sign an NDA. So we just want to reiterate the fact that we take the viewing and the looking into your data extremely seriously. We limit the number of people that would be involved, and like I said, they'll be subject to NDAs as this process is going on. So if you have questions, any concerns, happy to answer those. Excited about another year of this and looking forward to seeing how it all shakes out. Thanks, Jen.
All right, very good. Thanks, Tim. And I thought before I kick it back over to Jen, I would mention just a couple of quick things. First, when I introduced Dan Wyant and the Edward Lowe Foundation, I kind of just take for granted, sometimes you might know the significance of the Edward Lowe Foundation, named for its founder, Edward Lowe. And Edward Lowe was the inventor of kitty litter. Did you know that everybody knows automobiles were invented in Michigan? Did you know that kitty litter was invented in Michigan? And Dan leads the foundation left behind for the awesome legacy. Also, if you're selected as one of these award winners, 50 companies, the program and the awards banquet and ceremony is on the floor of the Breslin Center. And if you're a Michigan State fan, you know that's it's hallowed ground to be down on the floor of the Breslin Center. So fitting that Tim Bograkis, number 30, who played in a Final Four. I'm trying to remember if it was 2001 or 2005, Tim, that Final Four that you played in, but it was. He actually knows what it's like to play on the Breslin floor. But one of the only other ways that you can get down there on that floor is to win this particular award. So we're really excited about it. All right, so let's pass it over to Jen, back to Jen now, to talk a little bit about the award value itself. You there, Jen?
I knew I'd be the one. Thank you, Brian. So I get to share with you a little bit about the value of the award. Being nominated for a Michigan Celebrate Small Business Award is truly an accomplishment. Being accepted as a 50 company to watch, or a best small business, or a minority, veteran-owned, woman-owned small business is just fantastic. And you're able to leverage the award. So why do small businesses go through the process of being nominated? And if you've completed or you've started that application, you know it is we do ask for a lot of information related to financials, related to FTE counts. There's a narrative portion. So this portion of our conversation with you today really focuses on why. As I mentioned, it's a true accomplishment to be nominated, to be selected. Over and above that, there's a lot of value in being recognized as a Michigan Celebrates Award recipient. We do everything we can to make it seamless for you to be able to promote your award. We provide you with, as an award recipient, a media kit that has a press release, that has social media icons. We truly try to make it as seamless as possible for you to shout from the rooftops, not just for Michigan, depending on where you do business, nationally, internationally, that you're a 50 companies to watch. And because we are in our 20th year, we continue to carry with us an immense amount of value in having small businesses have that recognition, that designation. So many companies that we've worked with over the years have promoted their award in many different ways. First, I'll share that award recipients share it internally. So it's a way for companies to build culture and to celebrate success. Some companies have t-shirts made, or they go for a special picnic or a special dinner to celebrate the accomplishments of the team that made the company successful. We know it doesn't take just one person, it takes a team. Some companies celebrate in ways where 2 years ago, we had a company that actually created small miniature awards. So for those of you that know about the 50 Companies to Watch Award, it's a beautiful glass award, and it's been the same award. This will be our 20th year. One company had miniature versions of those awards created so that they could give that award to all of their team members. Because again, it's a team accomplishment. I also like to share, when we think about the value of the award, it's probably about 10 years ago when a small business owner was at the awards gala, about 5 hours early. We were setting up, and she was just walking the hall, walking by the main door, and asked her if I could help her. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so and so. I'm a small business awardee." And I'm like, "Oh, congratulations! So excited for you." And she asked if she could peek in, peek in to see, what the gala was going to look like. And so I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I opened up the door for her to see what we have planned for her and her team that evening. And she literally teared up. She literally teared up because at that moment in time, she just truly felt like all the effort that she and her team had put in was being recognized, and that she was going to be able to celebrate that evening with her team and in their accomplishments. And so there are multiple ways. Traditional media outlets, get fun, get creative. If you're an award recipient, share it internally, share it with partners. Really make it global, that you made it to be a Michigan 50 company to watch, a best small business, or another award. And then Brian, I'm going to hand it back over to you to introduce one of our awardees that's here to share.
Let's hear firsthand then from one of the very, very recent awardees. So Minority Owned Business of the Year, Allegiant Laundry Services. Jeremiah Smith joins us to share a little bit of insight about his experience and what has happened since. Jeremiah.
Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. I'm going to share a little bit about myself first. I'm Jeremiah Smith, founder, CEO of Allegiant Laundry Services. Since being awarded, we changed the name to Allegiant Linen Service, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But let me start off and just give you a quick story. I did not nominate myself. Someone nominated me. I still don't know who did it. So when I got the email, I called Laura. I said, "Hey, is this real?" And she was like, "Absolutely, you should fill out the application." So as I was going into the application process, I noticed it was a lot. But the questions were good and they fit. So I took my time really filling it out because it was just a win to be nominated. So for all that you are nominated, you should pat yourself on the back just to be recognized and to be considered, because I think that's a process within itself. Now, I'm going to tell you just about some of my personal experiences with this award. I took up my time, filled out everything to the T, and then I was nominated I actually won, right? That's why we're here. And I'm thinking, great. So I immediately call my team and tell them, we can't say anything, but we won. And most of my team was like, "Yeah, right." And I'm like, "No, I'm serious. Like, we small minority business of the year." And they're like, "Okay, great." So I immediately gave the opportunity for anyone that wanted to come, please come celebrate with us on the floor. And, I would say 65% of my team came. They were like, "Yeah, we'll go." And my company covered the expenses. So if you can do that, you should do that, because what it did for me later, which I'll share with you, was incredible. But let me tell you something. Going to the gala, seeing the floor is beautiful, it's breathtaking, and the networking is crazy. I got to do the SBAM tour of the Capitol building. I mean, it's amazing. Like, it's just so much more than just coming to celebrate, eat, and shake hands. The information takeaway, the people that you meet, some of the networking, and it's all in Michigan. So it's not like any of these people are not accessible. So I built a strong network. And I must say, since winning an award, I was recognized by my city that I live in. I was recognized by my hometown that I used to live in. And I was recognized by my place of business that I don't live there, but is there. And it was incredible. And let me tell you what it did for my business. We grew 180%. It was nuts. So we've been breaking record sales, which is why we changed our name to Allegiant Linen, because we was able to hire a marketing firm that wanted to make us more marketable, versus laundry. Linen is more general, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to bore you with that. And it opened up some doors with Huntington Bank, where we're having some conversations about how they can support support minority business from funding, and we were able to join them and help them start closing the gap on minority funding. So we partner essentially. And I work very, very closely with the Small Business Development Technology Center. And we're doing expansion. We're doing a 5,000 square foot expansion onto our building because of all of this. That's all I got. Did I miss anything, Brian?
That's excellent, Jeremiah. Thank you know, you covered so many different aspects. I mean, just the idea of celebrating with your team, the type of recognition, it's just a big deal. And then well, a lot of times people that own small businesses, you just keep your head down and you just plow forward and you take care of business. It's awesome though when there's some recognition of that and then it catches. Like this award is just something that really points a lot of other people towards you to recognize the type of benefit that you bring to the community, and it can lead to so many different opportunities. And from a financial and a growth standpoint, who doesn't want to do business with award-winning businesses? I mean, it's really, and also recruiting and retaining employees. Who wouldn't want to work for a company that that has been recognized through a very rigorous and objective process as being the best. And yeah, so Jeremiah, thanks for really making the most of it and being a great example for how follow through and just leaning into the whole thing can make a big difference. So I want to move back now to Jen DeMudd, talk about another one of the special awards that we have, and take it from there, Jen.
Fantastic. Yeah, great story, Jeremiah. Really appreciate what you shared. So I want to acknowledge PNC Bank. They have been the woman-owned small business champion for many years, and they've been a sponsor of Michigan Celebrates for all 20 years. They're a founding sponsor. So just huge congratulations to our woman-owned small businesses over the years. Thank you, PNC Bank, for being the woman-owned champion. And as we know, women-owned small businesses can be 50 companies to watch, they can be best small businesses, and they can be part of our special award categories, which this year we recently launched specifically a woman-owned small business of the year. So again, huge congratulations to all of our women-owned small businesses over the years. I want to pause.
Right.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that we wanted to also to just give another piece of insight from another very recent award winner, Jen Juergens from One Bold Step. Jen, maybe share a little bit of your experience, if you would.
Sure. Thanks, Brian. So One Bold Step is a strategic marketing agency in Grand Rapids. And I think a little bit similar to Jeremiah, when I got that email, I was like, wait, what? I still don't know who nominated us either, by the way. But we had been really heads down. And I think all small business owners can relate to this, where you're working really hard and somebody nominates you for something and you think to yourself, yeah, do I even have time to apply for this? Like, I'm too busy growing my business. But I'm really glad that I did as well. It did make me pause and reflect. And, we started in 2019 with 2 employees. It's now 2023 and we're at 14. Now, when you're inside the business, it's never enough. There's always more problems to solve, and you don't stop and think about maybe from the outside, holy cow, like that's a lot. And so one of my favorite parts about the award was making me pause and reflect, because I do not do this enough. And to turn this into a moment of celebration for me, for my business partner, and for the whole small team that helped to get us there. We have a tendency to just keep working. Like, okay, what's next? And this was like, no, wait. As my partner and I said, we looked at each other, I think on the stage at this moment, and said, I think we made a thing. And as you're growing, you don't always recognize that. But I can also talk a little bit about what we did with the award. I mean, we are a marketing agency, but that being said, we took the entire marketing packet that was sent to us. They made it very easy for us to simply take the assets and just line them up, schedule them, and we're off and running. So we did use, I think, a lot of the template for the press release, which was picked up in West Michigan, as well as a lot of the social media posts. We went so far as to update our email signatures. And what I like best about that is when I'm having conversations via email with new prospects, they ask about it. What does that mean? And I just think that that's great recognition for the award, but then also an opportunity to say, yeah, my company is real. We were recognized, in this celebration and with this award. So one of the things that we did that I really enjoyed, and I believe every award winner is offered this, it's an interview with the Michigan Business Network. Brian, Jen, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, they're nodding their heads. So, and that with me and my partner and just being asked, questions about the business, was a great time to tell our story. But then also my team took it, ran it through a, transcription service, and it's almost like we got our story in writing. And so we were able to take that, create a little blog about it that we put on the site, and it actually ended up changing some of our content on our website as well. Because I don't know about the rest of you, but Jeremiah, how often do you sit there and retell your story? You just don't get the opportunity to do that. But it's now kind of a part of our history, and it came out from having that really talented reporter draw the answers out of us. So I definitely appreciated that. We did turn it into a celebration. We are in West Michigan, so we rented the party bus. We did the snacks, and the team, most of them really enjoyed getting all dressed up and having that opportunity. I think we upgraded our package where we had a photographer and a champagne toast, and the photos are the people who have joined the company since look at those and go, wow, that looks like a lot of fun. And we're like, yeah, it was. And like I said, it was just a great opportunity to pause and go, hey, we did something, we did it all together. And it was a great employee event. And maybe the last thing that I can think of that I really, and we're still working through, is the support services from SBAM and Dan with the MEDC and the Edward Lowe Foundation. There are a number of different programs that become available at no cost or limited cost because you won this award. And we're still using those things. And it's because somebody took time in their day and nominated us. So I guess I am same page as Jeremiah. If you got nominated, it is worth your time to fill out that application and to be deliberate and thoughtful about it, because I would say the gift from the winning keeps on coming. So thank you.
That's awesome. Thanks, Jen. So Jennifer Juergens and Jeremiah Smith, great examples of how you can really leverage and build upon this. And it's not an easy process to go through. It's an extensive application. There's a judging process, and it takes some work. It takes a little bit of work, and it takes some time in order to do it. And the main thing that we just want to communicate here is that it is worth the effort. By the way, I know of many examples of where somebody applied and maybe they didn't get it one year, but then they were renominated the next year and then got it the second year. So I just want you to really kind of think about this and picture yourself winning, and just assume that it's going to be worth your time. And you'll learn a lot about your company as you go through the process too. So as you fill it out and you're kind of laying it out, I've heard time and time again that people felt like their ability to sell their own company. I mean, I don't mean like put their companies for sale, but like to talk to new customers, that the ability to do that because they went through the application process was enhanced. So Jen, let's do a little bit of Q&A here. We had some questions that were submitted, and I think we maybe a few in the chat too. So let me go ahead and just start it off with a few of the questions that we have received through the process over the last few weeks, that we just assume if one person asked, maybe some others would have the same question. So you're filling out this packet of information. It has information like insider information on different companies. Or on your company. How is that information protected?
Yeah, I'm so glad that this question is coming up now, because we get it so many times during the nomination process. There are several things that Michigan Celebrates Small Business has done over the years to protect company information. First and foremost, very few people get access to that information. Just a small handful of judges review that information. Judges are not from private sector. So if you're a service-based organization, if you're a manufacturer, there will be no other manufacturers or service-based organization looking at your information. So we're highly selective in who looks at the information, as well as all of our judges sign an NDA. So we make sure that that NDA is understood and on file before we would give any access. If for some reason we need to share information on a spreadsheet related to the top companies that are then, for example, moving on to the due diligence process, we will even password protect that spreadsheet. So at no point can anyone get access to that system. So very limited individuals have access. And if they do, they sign NDAs.
All right, very good. So NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, enforceable by law, big penalties for not following them. All right, how about this question? Actually, we got it ahead of time, but we also popped up in the chat. Can you apply for multiple awards?
Yes, absolutely. I encourage it. So if you were nominated for Minority Owned Small Business of the Year award, and you or someone else recognizes that you meet the criteria for the Michigan 50 Companies to Watch Award, please nominate self-nominate or nominate others for multiple awards. We have different judges for minority-owned, women-owned, veteran-owned, distinguished alumni, Michigan 50. They're all separate judges. So you feel free to nominate and to apply for other awards. Different judges are judging the categories.
All right. And how about another one that is in the chat? So should I still apply for the 50 Companies to Watch if our company doesn't meet every criteria point listed?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And we have conversations every year with small businesses nominees. If you're questioning whether or not you're eligible, for example, 6 to 99 employees, you have 5 or you have 101, reach out to us. Let's have a conversation, because for example, it's full-time equivalent. So we'll guide you through. If you have 101, we'll guide you through looking at your total employee count and look at the hours and see if you truly do qualify. So we've been in this for 20 years. We maintain a consistent approach in how we've identified the criteria and how we move individuals through this process. So let's have a conversation. If you're close, let's have a conversation to make that final determination.
So
if you're way off, if you have 2 employees or 222, then I'd say, probably let's not have a conversation, because you're a little too early, or you're stage 3 small business.
All right. So you kind of answered this in the previous question, but I want to go at it explicitly. The question was how we look at FTEs. So, that employee count, is it really, so let's say you have 2 part-time employees and that would count as 1 FTE. Is that kind of how the count works?
Yeah, it's full-time equivalent. So full-time hours are typically 40 hours for most positions. So if those two FTEs, if those two employees are 20 hours each, then that would be one FTE, full-time equivalent.
Got it.
So we
And,
don't do creative math, but we do like to have that conversation.
Yeah. All right, good. And then we talked about it's okay to apply for multiple awards. Are there different applications for each award, or can you have one application for multiple awards?
There are different applications for all the award categories. So a Michigan 50 Company to Watch Award application is going to be different. There will be some similar aspects. We're still going to ask for FTE count, revenue count. Some of the questions will be a little different based on the award that you're applying for. But the good news is, even though they're separate applications, you can print your application for, say, the Michigan 50 Company to Watch Award. And if you've already done the work to capture the information, then it's simply transferring it over to the other application. That is an opportunity for improvement for us moving forward, to make sure that it's seamless if small businesses want to apply for multiple awards.
But you certainly don't get counted down for cutting and pasting things that are like, it's a question in both and you have the exact same answer for both. Please don't hesitate. You don't have to come up with new words for the same question, because there are similarities, but they are different applications. All right.
Just remember to copy all those zeros in your financials, so you're copying over the right numbers.
All right, so this question, is this award for nonprofit orgs only? And I'd say, no, it's the opposite. It's for profit only. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is for-profit companies.
All right. And when you receive the notification that you've been nominated, like, how do you know which award you've been nominated for?
Yes. So in the email that you'll receive, it'll indicate that congratulations, you've been nominated for X award. And it should indicate, I know this year it does indicate who nominated you. That's something that we recently added. So then it would be, if there's a clickable link for you to click and to go into that application portal to start that app, to register. So you have to create an account and then start that application process.
All right. And several times throughout this, Jen, you have said to reach out. And so reach out to who and how?
Yes.
If you have
So
a
you
question.
can, yes. Laura, is there an email address on this? If you flip the screen? Maybe not.
Yes.
Okay. So it looks like my email address is there. You can text me, call me, email me. You can also, Laura, who you can see on the screen, she's our project manager for Michigan Celebrates. You can also reach out to her, and it's simply laura@michigancelebrates.org. We both are with the managing partner, Connexus Group, and we will support you in any way we can.
All right, and could you walk through the timeline again? So from today until somebody's walking across the stage receiving that award, maybe just do a quick run through of the timeline, what to expect.
Yeah. So nominations are due the 22nd of November. Your applications are due on the 30th of November. Judging starts December 4. And it'll go all throughout December and the first part of January. Final round judging is the end of January, I believe the 25th. Once those award recipients are identified, then they will go through a due diligence process, which typically takes about 2 weeks. So by the end of February, we have our award recipients identified, and we are sending out and calling and letting our small businesses know the end of February. Media embargo is lifted on March 22nd. 1 week prior to that, if awarded, you'll receive your media packet so that you can prep internally to share that news across the state, nation, and globe. Awards Gala is May 21st. And as Brian pointed out, it's on the floor of the Breslin Center. For those of you that may have been to the gala before, it's always a fantastic evening for networking, to connect with team and others. And we're shaking it up a bit this year. It's our 20th annual. So this is going to be just an amazing time to celebrate small businesses.
All right. How about in each category, the 50 companies to watch, presumably 50 award winners for that one in that category. How about all the others?
So all the other categories, so the best small businesses, so best small businesses, we have the 3 categories within best small businesses, the SBDC, the Apex, as well as the Smart Zone. And it's based on how many regional offices there are for each of those organizations. For example, the Small Business Development Center has 11 regions across the state. So there will be 11 SBDC best small businesses.
So 1 per region.
Yes, so there is 1 per region. And so that would mirror the Apex Awards as well as the Smart Zone Awards. For minority-owned, women-owned, veteran-owned, there is 1 small business awardee for each of those categories. And then for the Michigan 50 Alumni Awards, there is 1 awardee per those distinguished alumni awards, strategically focused and great place to work.
All right.
And
then,
I have to, I was just
go
gonna say, I
ahead.
have to say, Brian, you know, so far we've had over 700 nominations across all categories for the 50 companies to watch, about 445 nominations. And it looks like we're getting really good traction on applications. We have 39 applications completed and 82 have already started. So we're on a really good path to have a robust application process and then judging process this year.
All right. Awesome. So there's a question here that came in through the chat. We received an email telling us we received the Best Small Business Award, also nominated for another category. Do I need to do anything else for the Best Small Business Award? How did we receive that without completing an application?
Yeah, so they would have been nominated for a Best Small Business Award. So depending on which of the 3 organizations, a Smart Zone or an Apex Accelerator, or they've worked with Michigan Small Business Development Center, they would have put forth that nomination into the system because they have been selected as that regional best small business. And there is an application process that the best small businesses will also go through.
All right.
So whomever is asking that question, please reach out to Laura or myself, and we're happy to make sure that you get that link to the application.
There's a question here, it's pretty general, and so I think we're gonna have to kind of interpret a little bit, but is there a rubric? And I assume that means for scoring the criteria that's considered in the judging process and who gets the award.
Yes, there is. We have multiple judges looking at an application. So we go through a preliminary round judging. 3 judges will look at 1 application. Once all of the applications are judged, we then average out those scores, and the top companies move forward. The middle companies we discuss, and then the lower scoring applications, again, it's the average across those 3 judges, will then drop off, and we'll encourage them to come back next year. Once companies are selected as the top companies, then they go forward to the final round judging, where we have 5 additional judges go through a similar process, and they do score based on, for the 50 companies to watch, intent and capacity to grow, giving back to the community, what are their projected growth. And so each judge will judge the application on some core areas. And then again, all those scores come in to, I'd say, our central portal. They're averaged out. And then we have one day in Lansing where the judges, they've already judged, we have all the scores, we sit down in a room for a day and we review every single company and how the judges scored. For example, if one judge scored an application low out of 5 judges or scored them really high, we want to understand, what did that judge see in that application? Why did they judge low or why did they judge high? And we talk about every single application to ensure that we are selecting the companies that truly have that intent, capacity to grow, and they have strong numbers behind it, revenue projections, as well as FTE growth.
Very good. So there is there are objective criteria. It's not but there's also some subjective factors that are included. That's why there's so many people involved. Now that there's nothing published in terms of here's how the business is scored out. Like it's not something that's published or publicized. All right. I think that is we're at the end of the questions that came in, and we're pretty close here to the end of the hour. So I want to just thank you again all for joining us today, and also just encourage you, please do take the time to fill it out and then come celebrate with us come next spring. It's a blast. I go to this every year. Even before I was CEO of the Small Business Association of Michigan, I used to spend time with the award winners in a previous capacity, because it is such an exciting and dynamic group of people. You'll meet so many interesting small business owners and people like you. I mean, there's not that many people that understand what it's like to own and operate a small business. And so you'd be in a room full of people who get that. These are your people. And so I just want to encourage you to move forward. Again, if you have any questions, you see Jen's email address and telephone number there too. Please reach out with any questions as you go through and filling out the application, and we'll look forward to celebrating with you soon. Thanks, everybody.
Congratulations.